After learning about heat stress symptoms, first aid, and prevention, let's revisit Scenario 1. Imagining on a scorching summer day, a crew of hardworking construction workers toiled tirelessly under the blazing sun. The air felt thick and suffocating, offering no relief. At about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, you see one of your coworkers almost falls over when picking up some materials. You ask him if he's okay, and he aggressively says,
Yeah.
You go over to him and see that his face is red, but he's not even sweating. Hey, sit down for a second, you say, but he says, no, I am fine. Leave me alone. He tries to pick up the materials again, but he almost falls again. Is this a heat emergency? How do you know? Have you ever seen something like this happen? What did you do? He has several symptoms of potential heat stroke, including confusion, not acting right, red skin but not sweating. In this situation, you should call for help. One person should call 911 immediately. Make sure you can clearly describe exactly where you are located so they can get there as soon as possible. Another person or other people should move this worker to the shade, loosen or remove his clothing, spray him or pour water on him and fan him to help him cool off. Try to get him to drink water if you can. Let's take a look at another scenario. In July, a 42-year-old man started a new job as a roofer. His employer did not have a formal plan to protect new workers from heat-related illness, although there was plentiful water, ice, and Gatorade available at the site. The worker felt fine during his first 2 days of work. His third day on the job was slightly warmer, with a high temperature of about 86 degrees Fahrenheit and relative humidity of 57%, for a heat index of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. In the afternoon, the worker told his coworkers he felt hot and sick. He climbed down from the roof and went to sit by himself in the sun. When his coworkers checked on him a few minutes later, he had symptoms of heat stroke. He was taken to a hospital where he died. What do you learn from this case study? We need to protect new workers during their first 2 weeks on the job. Make sure they take plenty of rest breaks and drink enough fluids. Never leave workers alone when they complain of heat-related symptoms. Their condition can worsen quickly. Take them to a cool location and provide first aid. Even a brief delay in first aid can make the difference between life and death. Temperatures do not have to be extremely hot to cause heat stroke in workers. Remember, total heat stress is a combination of environmental heat and workload. Air temperatures in the 80s degree F are high enough to result in a heat index value of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. They are also high enough to kill some workers. Let's take a look at Scenario 3. You're working on disassembling and removing the existing furnace from the attic and moving the new furnace to the attic before beginning to installation. There was a sudden heat wave. It's 11 a.m. and it's already 95 degrees out. There was a break 2 hours ago, and you're drinking a lot of water, but you feel kind of sick to your stomach. On your lunch break, several others say that they don't feel very good either, but they've got to keep going because if not, they could get fired. What do you do? When it is hot out, what do you think your employer should do to protect workers? What are some possible actions you could take in this situation? The employer needs to allow or require workers to take more frequent breaks. Provide shade for taking breaks. Allow or require workers to work a half day. Provide extra drinking water. Be more conscious of the workers so that they notice if someone is not feeling well. You could approach your employer and ask for more break time in the afternoon, or permission to go home early. Ask some of your coworkers to accompany you to talk to your employer. Call OSHA to report the issue and ask for an inspection. Let's take a look at the last scenario. You are employed by a construction framing company and you are working at a construction site for a new multifamily residential structure. One day a stranger comes and says that he's from the government, and he came to inspect the construction site. He checks if there's enough water in the coolers and if there are bathrooms close by where you're working. Then he comes over to you and asks if he can ask you some questions. You don't want to talk about work with this guy because you don't even know him, and your supervisor is in the area, so he will see you talking. What do? You could ask for an interview after work hours, in a location away from the construction site. It is illegal for your supervisor to retaliate against you for talking to OSHA. This is the end of the heat stress training. I hope you have gained valuable information to keep yourself and your coworkers safe during hot days. Thank you for your time and attention.